Okay, I think we're live. Let's have a quick look just to make sure. Mhm. Okay, well, it's telling me we're live, so I'm just going to assume that we are. Okay, everyone, welcome to another episode of Choosing Well. And today we have with us this spectacular, fantastic barrister and founder of TIPS, the Intentional Public Servant. Now, if you're a Nigerian or someone that's familiar with the civil service, I'm sure you know that this is a very important thing that needs to be done. So thank you so much for joining us, Duza. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Nana, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, just so that anyone that's tuning in that doesn't know you can just get a little glimpse into your life and what makes you tick?
Okay, so hello, everyone. Welcome once more to Choosing Well. My name is Faith Duza Gaza Hassan, and I'm a mom, a Christian, and a lawyer. I have been in, I've been practicing law for over a decade now. Yeah. And basically, I'm passionate about governance, really. Since when I was young, I didn't have the words for it, but from primary school, I knew I loved things like government, history. I mean, I would always ace those courses without doing much. I was
Mm.
just drawn to them, but there was no language for it. So when the time pick a course, those courses led to law. So I basically just went to law. And I found out that it was interesting. I wasn't cajoled. I found it interesting. But as one grows in life, you begin to get the why am I here questions. You begin to ask
Mm.
yourself things. Why am I here? What am I here to do? And then I'm like, okay, what can I do with this law? And I remember it was after my master's, I did an internship with an NGO,
Mm-hmm.
a Policy and Legal Advocacy Center plaque. So that was my first introduction to policy.
Mm.
And so eye-opening. I was like, wow, I like what they are doing here, and I like how they are using the law here. It made
Yeah.
sense. So I thought I worked there because they interviewed us, but I didn't get it. I was sad. But then I got to work for the government, and then one thing led to the other, and I still found myself in the place where I'm still working with policy. And I would say all those little things have added up to where I am today. And it all just makes sense now. So
Mm.
yeah. Apart from that, I love movies. I love reading books. Yes, and yeah, that's basically. And I would say I'm passionate about Nigeria.
Mm.
Not just about Nigeria. I love how nations work. What goes in the background to make what happens behind the scene, and we wake up and we hear, oh, this is now this. I
Mm.
love the background story, all the discussions that happen to get to a nation, to a place where they are
Yeah.
interested in that. So that's basically it. Yeah.
Mm. That's really good. You know, one thing I've noticed over the last year doing these interviews is that everyone always says kind of like they found themselves just exactly where they needed to be, that it all adds up. Like there's no experience that's wasted or pointless. Sometimes when we have disappointments, like when you mentioned like interviewing for the place and you didn't get it, you think, oh, it's over. But the experience there played the role that it needed to play, woke you up to the possibilities, and it set you on this path, and here you are now. So I think that's amazing. So my next question was going to be about like, was there a defining moment when you knew public policy would be central to your life's work? But I feel like you've kind of touched on that a little bit. But if you wanted to add a little bit more context to that, would love that as well.
All right. So yes, I'll say there wasn't a particular defining moment, but there were things that led me to that moment.
Mm.
And The moment I realized it, it's not as if I was somewhere very grand reading a book. I was in my sister's house and I was walking down the stairs and it just clicked. I,
Mm.
I know what I'm going to do. I know what my life is about. You're like, okay, 'cause you've been working, but no, really, that moment, it just came that this is it. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have language for it. I knew I was interested in all things around policy,
Yeah.
but I didn't put a name to it. But engaging with the work I do and everything, and studying and reading. And another thing that I do is I Google people a lot.
Mm.
People that
Research.
they are doing what I want to do. I Google them. I go to LinkedIn, not just their name. I want to find out the schools they went to, the courses they have taken. So that's what I do. If I see someone in my space and I would like to be there, I go, I check, okay, what A, B, C, and C do. And most of them, they had one thing in common. They
Mm.
had done public policy course, public policy,
Wow.
in public policy.
Mm.
So I searched on it and saw that it all aligned with everything my heart was beating for.
Mm.
And oh, this is it. I found the answer. This is it. And so I began on that trajectory. And I found that I had been doing it. I just didn't know.
Didn't know.
Yeah, so that's how I found myself here.
That's amazing. I've just because there's this, I keep saying there's a common thread because there's that like once you have the desire, you actually have to take action, which is
True.
what you did, right? You went and started doing your research and looking and seeing like, what can I do? How are these people that have gone ahead of me? What made it unique? What made it easy for them to get into this space? And then once you figured it out, you realized you were actually already becoming that person. And I'm sure that gave you some sort of validation and helped you feel like a little confident, like, okay, I'm on the right path.
Exactly.
So that's really amazing. And I hope anyone that's listening now and is kind of like trying to figure it out can take one or two lessons from there. So recently you founded a wonderful foundation, the Intentional Public Servant Foundation. When I saw that, I thought, wow, that is a powerful name. That is important work. So what inspired you to start it, and what impact do you hope that it leaves behind?
Thank you very much. And thank you that you understand that it is important work because I did not want to work in public service. It
Mm.
was not for, you watch Suits, you see how Spectre, my cross. You want to be giving that kind of,
Yeah.
just service. So I would say, well, my now I would think that I didn't plan to be in public service. That is what I think. But seeing the background and all the things that I would say my heart was beating for and I wanted to do could only have been done in public through
Mm,
it just took me a while to understand why I had to be where I am now.
mm, mm,
So, and what led me here was I was at a point where I was not enjoying what I was doing
mm,
because the work was boring, but the bureaucracy around it and the environment, I just felt what is the need. I was at a place where I was told I'm doing too much. I should
mm,
and don't be showing yourself.
mm,
That kind of stuff.
mm,
And I was a bit discouraged and I almost wanted to become like the others. And let's just be doing it now. She be not
mm,
your father, that kind of thing. I wanted to join the bandwagon, even though
mm.
that's me and that's not how I do things.
Yeah.
So I prayed on it and a wake-up call came. In fact, by me thinking I wasn't even doing much, someone asked me, said, a junior colleague asked, like, what? I see you have so much energy. Like, why you seem happy when you come to work? And at that time in my mind, I was not happy, but
Mm,
no, I always seem energetic when I come to work and I always have something to do. In fact, people come to my table and say, what are you always doing? Because it's not all the time the office is busy.
Yeah.
There might be some downtime that people just, but you're like, you're always doing something. You're always, what is this thing? Like, there are lots of things to do, whether they give up or not. There's always work to be done. And so I noticed that lots of people did not know what to do with their time in public service.
Mm.
But when you look around, there's so much work to be done. But
Mm.
people didn't know. Sometimes in some organizations, you come in, the onboarding is very, they give you your SOP, you know what to do. Some
Yeah.
other places not as smooth as that. You have to figure out
Yeah.
what you do. And with some people withholding information from you, you have to find a way around the politics to get, you understand, and learn
Yeah.
the work.
Yeah.
I noticed that people don't really know what to do. I'm like, and it just really sparked the passion in me that really people need to be intentional about this work that they're doing, because public servants are the engineers of any nation. They are the ones that drive the economy of a nation. So if they are not working and if they do not know what to do, it means the country will not work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what gave me a jolt. I'm like, oh, this is serious. If people are in the office and they do not know what to do, or they don't know how to do it, or they feel there is no work, but there is actual work, or a
Yeah.
few people are just doing the bulk of the work, then what happens when those people are no longer there?
Yeah.
So that was what fueled me to start Tips. It came as a book, really. So it was like, I want to write this book on what I wish someone had given me as a young person to public service. I want to give that to other young and mid career, career level civil. So I now metamorphosed into the platform and the foundation. So yeah.
And what impact do you hope that it leaves?
I hope that Tips inspires public servants to understand, first of all, understand the value of the work that they have to do. That it's a great work. It's not just clocking into office and doing the mundane things that we feel are boring, but that to know that work is impactful and not just for now, but for the future. And that they are pivotal in the whole grand scheme of nation building. To understand the power that they wield in those chairs that they sit on. So I want to be able to inspire public servants, number one, to understand the power they hold with the work across all levels, be it junior, senior, mid. And then I also inspire them to understand that, I'm so sorry, a call is coming in. One moment. Sorry, just a moment.
No problem. I hope everyone that's listening is really getting inspired or encouraged, especially if you're finding yourself in the public service space. I know that across countries everywhere, not just particularly in Nigeria, there's a lot of discouragement when it comes to those in governance, those that have been given the task of leading and guiding our governance system. But there's hope, because if one person can wake up and see the importance of the work, then others can do the same as well. And there's hope because this one person that's woken up is not just going to leave it alone. She's reaching out to others. She's trying to get them to understand the importance of the role that they play. Instead of just coming in and just ticking the boxes, there's going to be some inspiration to want to do more, to give more value. And beyond that, it's even adding value to their daily lives, because I found that when I'm passionate about the work that I do, when I understand my role in the grand scheme of things, like it adds so much more value to my daily life and my daily living. I'm more happy and more fulfilled. And then I can also take that on to my kids or my husband at home. And then I think for me as a Christian, it's that I'm always going to want to do things as unto the Lord. And that has a ripple effect on everything. Welcome back, Duza.
Thank
Uh,
you. So sorry for the breaking
no
transmission.
problem. So you were telling us how you want them first to understand the value of the work and their role in it. Please.
Yeah. I also want to inspire them to understand that they are not less.
Mm,
They are not less than people in the private sector or people in other sectors.
mm,
I see that there's sometimes when I see some public servants, they don't have that, what's the word? There's not there's not much confidence in
mm,
some of it's
yeah.
almost like the fallback career.
Mm,
And for this, I wanted to be here, thought I just got this. Let me just be doing it before the
mm,
not seen as the number one. It's
yeah.
like the side, not the
Yeah.
main, you know. But I want them to understand that this work you're doing, number one, is important. Number two, be confident in it. The
Mm,
fact that you're there, if you can't do anything to change it right now, choose it.
mm,
If you're going to be here for the while doing it, if you're going to spend 10 years, 15 years here, choose it.
yeah.
So be intentional about it. Choose it. Don't just, waltz through it as one of those people. Choose it and be intentional and desire to make a change with it. And, it's also seen in sometimes the way some of the offices look,
Mm,
in the payment package, in
mm,
all those things lead to people feeling the way they feel about
yeah.
the public service and their
Yeah.
position. In fact, there was this ad that I saw. It's someone that sells cars,
Mm-hmm.
luxury cars, and he made an advert and he said, "This one is not for public servants." Hey, the thing trended. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Mm,
So it's just that let's say that derogatory stereotype that
yeah.
it's the people that couldn't get the cool jobs that are here. But it's not true. You look at people like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, they are public servants,
Yeah.
executive
Absolutely.
public servants.
Yeah.
And your ministers, they are public servants, even though, yeah, we glorify those ones because
Yeah.
they are the upper
That's the
echelon.
problem. Yeah.
I've met some of the brightest people and some of the most intelligent people in public service.
Yeah.
Like, they have so much to give. And so, yeah, that's what I hope to inspire in people, that they take ownership of the public service. For every public servant, for them to take ownership and understand the importance of the work they do and own it with pride,
Mm,
as we say in Nigeria, with their full chest.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so important because I find that there are some things in life that you don't really have control over. But
True.
what you can always have control over is how you show up,
Yeah.
right? Do your best to steward that place that you're in, that role that you're in, whatever it is, even if you think it's not where you want to be, you found yourself there. So show up as your best self,
Mm-hmm.
because as you function in a place that you think is beneath you is the same way you function, even if you find your dream job, whatever that dream job is. Because as you're in that place, you're
One thing,
becoming a lower version.
exactly.
Exactly. So
Exactly.
yeah, so I think that's really, really important. And I think it will have such a big ripple effect in society in general. Because once people take pride in their work, you can see it in the way they carry themselves, even the way they function at home as well, because you're excited about the work that you're doing, which we spend a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time at the office. So it's good that you actually enjoy it and do your best. Yeah, it's never going to be perfect, but you've really got to try. So I
True.
think that that's really important work. Thank you for doing it. And I know that over time you start to inspire so many others to work alongside with you, or you inspire so many others to do their own little bits in their own spaces. So
Hopefully,
thank
yeah.
you for that. So what have you learned about leadership and integrity from working with public servants and policymakers? I know in Nigeria sometimes it feels like those things are like counter against each other, but I'm sure that it's taught you so much. So if you can just share with us one lesson or two that you've learned about leadership and integrity, we would love to hear.
Okay, thank you for that question. So, if there's anything I've learned about leadership and integrity is okay, let me start with integrity. You need to know your core values.
Mm,
You, you need to know what you stand by, your negotiables. It's not at the point where you are being made an offer that you cannot refuse, that you start thinking,
mm,
oh, what do I stand by? What
mm,
are my core values? What can cross? No, you need to have predetermined this and be convinced by it and be sure that this is it and know why.
mm,
So
mm,
for someone like me, I would say my guardrails is the Bible.
mm,
I get my core values from and my standard. Obviously, I'm not saying anyone is perfect, but you need to have this set of rules that you know, okay, when it comes to this, by God helping me, I'll
mm,
not. Then, when it comes to leadership in public service, I've come to understand that politics is inevitable.
mm.
Man is a political animal. I heard someone say that where two or three men are gathered, politics has already begun.
Good one.
But it goes in line with integrity in the sense that even when politics come in, are you the kind of person that is just going to do anything and everything, or as you engage and politic, you still have those guardrails guiding you so that you are not going outside of what you know should be or what should not be. And I've also learned in leadership that people are watching. People are watching, whether you are aware of it or not.
Mm,
And this is not to say that you should only act because people are watching. No, but it's because your life is speaking volumes to those watching, which can make or mar.
mm,
Yeah. So one should always have that. And actions have consequences,
mm,
good or bad. So the thing you do when you are in office, when you're on that seat, when you're in that position will have an effect,
mm,
either to, or to others or to a whole nation.
mm.
You know, some countries enjoy some kind of leverage because of how their leaders are, and some countries suffer some things because of
How their leaders are. Mm,
that's leadership. It's beyond you. The thing you do affects. In fact, let me use a home. What the father and the mother do affects the children. In fact, even the way they look.
yeah, very true.
Yes. So that's how important leadership is.
Wow. Wow. That really strikes a note for me because it's one of the things that I work with a lot, the impact that the choices that parents make have on kids.
Yeah.
Knowing or unknowingly has such massive impact. So when you're relating that to leadership of a country, like that really brings it home for me. Like there's no sidestepping it, no matter where you run to.
Mm-hmm.
um the choices that the leaders of your country make really does have an impact on you, even if you get a different passport. It will always leave a mark, because at the end of the day, it's like when they say where's your country of origin, you're still going to mention it. Where were you born, you're still going to mention it. So there really is no escaping. So leadership is such a pivotal thing for living. For There's no escaping it really.
True.
There's no pretending. Because me, I like to just like ignore. But there's really no way to ignore some things. But I know that as you're working in governance and tax policy, when I was doing my ACCA exams, tax was one of those classes that was just really complex because there's so
Right.
many different rules and laws and they're constantly changing.
True.
Um, so how do you navigate those constant changes or the difficult decisions? and just staying true to who you are. I know you had mentioned earlier that you have the guardrail as your Bible, but like, how do you navigate difficult decisions? And how would you advise someone that is coming behind you that wants to step into this space that you're in? How can you kind of help them um, navigate difficult decisions that will surely come in the case of their career?
Okay, so working in tax at the moment, I had not always worked in tax. I was just basically doing commercial and corporate law generally.
Mm,
Then I worked in litigation. I did a bit of litigation before I moved to tax. It was such a novel area. I knew nothing, like nothing really. So I had to start reading.
mm,
And when I come in, nobody was coming forth much with information. So you had to bring it out of people. I had to really show that I wanted to know these things.
mm.
I'll go sit with some of the seniors, really ask them questions. Some of them, when I think of it now, are very weird, stupid questions, but they say there's no stupid question.
Right.
So ask, search, then read. You will have to be reading, really. Because even as we are now, we have new set of laws coming out to be enforced in January. So back to reading.
Mm,
And where sometimes I find, or rather, will I say I find the do I say issues, but not issues, challenges between it and, for example, now in developing countries, people do not want to pay taxes because they feel, what is my government doing for me?
yeah.
They are not showing me what they're doing with the money, blah, blah, blah. But if there's anything we advocate for is just do right by your government as a citizen,
Mm,
as the law says, The
mm-hmm.
Bible says, give to Caesar what is Caesar's.
Yeah.
And if I can remember, one of the words that, I'm a Christian that God gave me she was like, if I must eat the good of the land, I must sow good seeds.
Mm,
I heard it clearly.
mm,
At that moment, I was like, okay, I cannot just be like any other person
mm,
when talking down, abusing, and, saying derogatory things about their country. I just can't join it.
mm,
On a normal day, yes, I'll not join. But you know those times where you're actually frustrated, you just want to talk small. Even if I talk small, I will have to at the end just say, but let us pray, God we shall. Because I heard that one that if I must eat the good of the land, I must sow good seeds. So even in my words and in my actions,
mm,
okay, the Lord is saying, do this, try.
mm,
And yeah, so
mm,
that's well, I say that's the mandate I received. And
mm.
so I try to live by, making sure that I sow good seeds. And I think it's a universal principle,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
because you if you want to eat good fruit from something, you have to water it.
Yes. Absolutely.
And it's not about looking at whether the other person is fulfilling their own end. It's doing what is required of you, keeping your own part of the deal, of the covenant. Let whoever is the police of the universe, I don't mean universe, but yeah,
Yeah.
whoever is please handle the person that is not
Mhm.
doing that, but do your own part and
Yeah.
hope that you reap the good of the part that you've done.
Mm. So as far as it's on to you, do the right thing
Yeah,
and let the other person deal with the consequences of their own actions.
yeah.
That's really good. That's really, really good. That's so, so good. Thank you, Diza. So looking back, what's one choice you made that has really shaped your career trajectory significantly?
Okay. So when I was thinking about this, it was a mindset shift,
Mm,
really.
mm,
Understanding that I might not make millions in this public service. Yeah. And really, I had to come to that because I'll not be paid millions.
mhm,
And I'm not swearing for myself. It's no. I understand that, yeah, opportunities might come
mhm,
from it that leads to. In fact, just recently I did a work for a client, and what I was paid was 20 times what I'm paid
Wow.
in a month, and I was paid once for
Mm.
doing that. So
Yeah.
I am aware that this is not the this is not where I'm going to get my wealth from.
Mm.
I am aware and
Mm.
I've understood it and I'm at peace with it.
Mm.
And I understand that I'm to be here for the time that I'm to be here for, doing what I've been asked to do.
Mm.
That really calmed me down.
Mm.
No unnecessary chasing to make sure climb back. I know it's not them. For
Mm.
lack of a better word, they cannot afford me. I'm sorry. So it's I know that my blessing, yeah, and my wealth is not, it's coming from above.
Mm.
And so really understanding that and knowing that yes, it's God that will take care of my real needs
Mm.
and help me build wealth the way I ought to build wealth. It's not through the mundane month to month or whatever it is they're going to give me. So that really just helped me calm down and do the work that I need to do.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. That's so good.
So that's so yeah, I don't know if it relates, but that was really what helped me. Because most times you want to, most times people choose a career which is not bad per se, based on what will bring the most financial, benefit to them.
Yeah.
You need something that will take care of you, your family, your needs. That's understandable.
Yeah.
So for many times I found myself constantly still applying for, wanting to still apply for jobs. I'm not settled. I'm not saying one should settle and not.
Yeah.
But when I understood what I was there for,
Mm.
and to understand that I am here, I've been sent to do this for this time, and I might not necessarily get the financial benefit of what I'm looking for here. It is an assignment, just do it. How you get paid, don't worry about it. You shall get paid
Yeah.
by who sent you. So that calmed me down and made me just calm down.
Yeah, yeah, because taking your eyes off of like, how am I going to get the money and all of that stuff just really helps you focus on the main work, which I think at the end of the day is adding value.
True.
Um, Over time, as you add value, you will
Mm,
get your value. Your worth will be given to you. It may not even come from the role that you're talking about, but
eh,
people see someone that actually has value, and people, that's what they want. They want someone that's going to add value to them. So
mm,
you never know where it's going to come from. So whatever it is that you're doing, just do your best
yeah.
and add value there. Don't be too focused on the money. The bottom line, money is nice. But especially when you're starting off and you're building, you want to just really focus on, adding value, being someone that when they add you to the process, like it changes for good, not just you trying to figure out what you can get out of it. Um,
Mm,
that's what I really got from what you were sharing. So,
yeah.
advice would you give young lawyers or those that want to go into policy, hoping to make meaningful change? What would you tell them?
Okay. For any young person and any young lawyer, or just anybody wanting to make meaningful change, I will say take agency of your life.
Mm.
Do not do not just let life happen to you.
Mm.
Be an active participant of what is happening in your life. So it goes down to that word intentionality.
Mm.
Be intentional. I
Yeah.
heard someone say, if you don't like where you are not a tree, you can move. Like you've got
That's
legs. You can move.
it.
And this is not to say, I'm not saying cancel culture, let
Yeah.
someone understand it. No, just walk out. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to say that be intentional about your life and about your life's purpose. You ask yourself important questions. Why am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Mm.
To what do I seek to gain? What do I want to change? What do I want to influence?
Mm-hmm.
What do I want legacy to be? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Those kind of questions will lead you
Yeah.
to your life's work.
Yeah.
And that's what led me here. And in fact, you just find out that you have already been in it. You know, when people say you discover purpose, it's more like it's been around,
Yeah.
but your eyes get opened to
Mm.
see. You
Yeah.
sometimes just have that aha moment.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Yes.
is it.
There's an awareness.
And most times you find out that you've been in it or they are things.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. I agree with you
man,
100,000%. Yeah, that's so good. Okay. So, what misconceptions do people often have about public service, and how do you challenge them through your work? Because I know my mom retired from the civil service, and she was one of those people that they used to say to that she used to do too much. Mrs. Bauer has this and that and that. But she was about the notion that, look, you're here to do the work, do it well, do it honorably. So yeah, please. What misconceptions people have, and how do you challenge them through your work?
right. So, well, some people feel public servants are slow, they're not professional, they're not properly educated, which is not necessarily true in the sense that in public service, we have different levels and stratas. We have those that work for federal government, we have those that work for state government, and we have those that work for local government. And
Mhm.
we know the resources that they have are not the same.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you walk into a local government, it will not be the way when you walk into a state government, nor a
Yeah.
federal. Yeah. And so these misconceptions, as much as some might be true, I will not say it's general. Like I had earlier said, I've met some of the brightest people in public service, some of my mentors that I've met, like well schooled, they know what they are doing. In fact, when you look at some parastatals or some ministries, when you see the way they work, those are public servants making it work. When you engage with some services,
Yeah.
it's public servants that made it happen.
Yeah.
So you can see that to some extent they are working.
Mm.
And if they are allowed to work, they will work.
Yeah.
And just like with any human being, if men are pushed, they get to see what is in them.
Mm.
But sometimes because the right maybe leadership is not there, they are not pushed to that. Because that's why I say take agency for your life. It's not everyone that will take that agency and drive themselves,
Yes.
push
Yeah.
themselves. People
Yeah.
need pushing. So that's what gives the difference from the private sector, because private sector they're always being pushed. Everybody wants value for their money. So
Mhm.
yeah, so these are some of the misconceptions, and I challenge that through the way I show up in my work. If you give me work, like I always say, most times you will not find error, and if you find error, I take the correction and I do it again. I make sure that the watchword I always give myself is I want to be that junior colleague to the boss that I would want.
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah, let's say I'm a boss, I act in the way that I would want myself to be
Mm.
if I need somebody like that. So, and also through tips, we write blogs and articles, daily reminders encouraging public servants to move past the norm and be the best that it can be.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how tips transforms over time, even possibly having like physical events, because I know that one thing that's really helped me and a lot of people that I know is being in the right community, knowing that you're not alone doing things. So when you know that okay, we've got like-minded people, even if the people in your office are acting somehow, you know that at least there's someone
It's all online.
There's someone that, okay, I can relate to this person and we're working with it together. It encourages you, even when you're feeling tired, you're like, okay, I know this person is still pushing, so I can keep pushing as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all the wonderful things that happen through tips.
Just to add, we are launching. Well, I'm launching. We all the same.
Yes.
October this year, and so it will be a physical event, the launching of a book with a seminar on intentional.
Fantastic.
So hopefully that will be our first event. We're still putting it together.
Fantastic. Please
Yeah,
put Zoom for us so that those of us that are not see Nigeria will tune
we'll
in to watch.
make sure to do that. We'll make sure.
Yeah. Yeah, please give us enough notice so that we can also share with everyone because it's really valuable work and I think there's so many people that work in the civil service in Nigeria. We can't afford to have such a big part of our population just moving like zombies. Um, I always like to think about things beyond just one aspect of life. I like to think about the whole perspective. If I'm acting that way in my office, guaranteed I'm going home and I'm acting that way too. So people are not showing up in their positions of leadership in their homes. They're not showing up as the fathers they should be, the mothers they should be, the husbands and wives they should be because they've kind of just switched off on life and they're not taking charge, like you said. And as a Christian, I believe that God has put something unique in each and every one of us. Each of us have something to offer. And when we are sleeping at the driver's seat, then we're not giving to the world what God has planted in us to give. So I'm really excited, honestly, that even if it's just a small percentage, I know that if you plant the seeds, then over time it will really create a wonderful harvest because if you can change one person's mind, then that one person can go to their own space and start to really do something amazing there. So thank you. All that to say thank you.
Thank,
Well done.
thank you.
Okay. So as you know, the theme of this series is called Choosing Well, and we're very keen on equipping people with the tools to be able to make better choices and would love to know how have intentional choices guided both your career and the creation of tips.
Okay, so for my career, I would say, like I said, the choosing came after I was in it.
Mm,
Rightly said, sometimes you do not have a say over some circumstances. You find yourself there. So what do you do after?
mm,
So because I found myself there and I knew that I will be there,
mm,
I'm that I'll be there for. I choose it.
mm,
So I became intentional about that choice,
mm,
re- reading on about it, making sure for most of any course that I had to take to make me better.
mm,
I did that. Anything I had to read, articles, things that just taking steps to show that I'm really intentional about it.
yeah,
Because I'm going to be in tax and tax policy. Am I reading up on it? Am I current? What is happening? Do I know what is happening?
yeah.
Or am I just sleeping on it? Or I'm going to office and I'm hearing what is happening like normal people? No. I should not be hearing.
Yeah, exactly.
I should be on top of it.
You're the
So
expert. Mm-hmm.
exactly. So that's one of the things I did to be intentional about my career. Always looking for ways to make sure that, I bring something new to
Mm,
it.
mm.
And then, sorry, what was the last part?
In terms of tips,
Okay.
yeah, the creation of tips. Mhm.
Tips has just been gone, and we're still going on this journey. And like you said, every time, sometimes one can get tired. I just feel like, are you really doing anything? Is this thing really going to, but is it really going to make the impact that it should make? But when I remember why I am doing it, and it gives me so much joy, like some the days I have to write articles, posts, like I'm just filled with so much energy. I'm
Very
like, okay,
good.
this so really steps by steps. Even in fact, tips has been like a guardrail for me also.
Mm,
Some things I'm like, hey, you're doing tips, so you can't come and be doing this thing. You get, because I'm like, you better preach what you better act what you're preaching.
uh, I've actually found that sometimes God gives us assignments to actually keep us on track. In stewarding it, He keeps you like on the straight and narrow instead of just doing whatever.
Can't just train everybody and just be doing anything. See, that's how they see you now. You're doing tips and you were found the other day. But yeah,
Okay, so
just it
good.
and makes you understand that this thing you are doing is serious work. And if you're
Mm,
going to do it, be intentional on it and make the right choices so that at the end of the day, the message is not polluted.
mm,
So one has, I'll say I've had to, in some instances, separate myself
mm,
and be a lonely journey. Quite lonely. But understanding what you're doing and knowing that, for some leaders, it's lonely also. Yeah, you're not going to be the first leader that has
yeah,
has experienced loneliness.
we can relate. Yeah, yeah. When you're what's that word? I can't even remember. The person that goes ahead, I don't know how they used to call it.
You mean pioneer?
Huh? Yes, fantastic. When you're a pioneer, it is what it is. But if you focus on, because I think one of the things I'm really getting from what you're saying is you're focused on, like you see the vision, like your vision casting into the future, and you know what it looks like. So you are kind of walking backwards, like because you know what the expectations are, what the vision is, you're going to start to align your present to
Mm-hmm.
into that person for the future. There's no longer just careless behavior or just not taking like not you have to now be more strategic. You have to be more intentional with your choices. You have to make sure that what you're doing, what your how your life is being executed actually aligns with the values that you're building in whatever it is that you're putting together. So I think for me is like for anyone that's watching that's a young person is I think it can be very easy when you're younger to think that, you don't really think about the consequences of your actions. You just feel like it's not a big deal. But if you can be mindful of the vision that has been placed in your heart of how you want the value you want to leave
True.
behind, the legacy you want to leave behind. If you can be intentional about it, it will really help you be more mindful about the choices that you make. Now you're no longer just living for yourself. You have a legacy that you want to leave behind, and all of us do. All of us do. You may not be in a leadership position or whatever. You might just be like someone's PA, for instance. But the way you show up in that role will be the way that you show up in future. So if you really want to live a life that's worth living, I think it's really important to be very intentional. Um, yeah. So one principle, actually, let me change that question. I know I didn't put this earlier, but like if you could go back to maybe your younger self,
Mm.
what is one thing you would tell her, knowing now what you know to kind of encourage her? What would you tell her?
Mm. I'll say all the things you're thinking, you're on the right track.
Mm,
Just and be more focused.
mm,
I would say I've always been on this journey, but many times, well, not too many, but few times you lose focus. And for a young person, some people, but some are lucky to be. Will I use lucky? Well, some are blessed to have some form of direction, but because children are young, and you see your peers are young and
mm.
all acting young and a bit foolish, you wonder why you are taking life too serious.
Yeah.
And you just feel like, we still have time. Let me just join them and calm down. I'll say, no, do not calm down. Just be going as intensely you're not missing out on anything. Really.
Mm,
That's what I'll tell myself.
mm,
Yeah. I've been on this journey. If I had zeroed in since,
mm, mm.
would have not just been doing this thing now. That's what I was saying.
But hindsight is 2020, like they say. But I think that's why we're so keen on, like, Duza now is part of our mentors on the Daughters Project Mentorship Program. And I think that's why a lot of us are so keen on it, because we understand the importance and value of staying on track, and how sometimes limitations of age and experience
Yeah.
can have you thinking that it's not such a big deal. But if you have the right people in your corner, kind of guiding you, people that have gone ahead of you, telling you, look, just, stay focused, stay on the right track, it really makes such a big difference.
Mhm.
And I think that's part of also why a lot of us do what we do when we are building things, is that we want to take the lessons that we've learned and we want to share it as much as possible so that others can learn, and we can get faster to where we're going as a
Yeah.
race, as a nation, as a species, or whatever, as a gender, all the different groups you can think of. It's foolishness to keep making the same mistakes over and over again when others have already gone ahead and learned the lesson. So we just take what we've learned, we pass it on so that the next generation is building from a higher level rather than, the back. It's just like passing on the baton. So I guess for me, what I'm trying to say is that if you're a young person and find people that you can trust that have gone ahead of you. Sometimes it's not that you find them physically, like Juza said, sometimes it's reading books of people
Yeah.
or doing research, and we have so much information at our fingertips these days. Don't get lazy. Don't turn off your brain, please. I know that, like, ChatGPT, go on.
I said, just add this. They should not give in to the lie of people that say your 20s are for mistakes. Do not go on a journey to make mistakes that
Yeah,
you don't have to.
yeah.
If
Some
you
are
fail
inevitable.
and if you okay, but I know people that, when people say they're in a relationship and they've never fought, and people are making it look weird, they now
Mm,
push themselves to that point where they must fight just to prove that they're human. You
yeah,
don't need to have, difficult or hard whatever. If
yeah,
you're on track that it's going, just be on it.
yeah.
It's great. You don't have to
Yeah,
try to
you don't need
prove.
to find trauma,
Yeah, yeah.
because
You
you
don't.
end up wasting time trying to heal and get back on track, and it's yeah, it's just a waste. It's just a waste of time. There's some things that are inevitable, but don't cause yourself unnecessary pain or struggle. It's not. I know
Mhm.
some people like to do struggle Olympics. Now me suffer past that. Don't even engage in conversations like that. You can never win.
Yeah, story that make their story have the oomph. Sometimes if your story is just too, you didn't really go through anything. It's just like when people read the book, there's no dramatic and that's goes inside, so they go look for it. You're not missing out anything.
Yeah, yeah, you're not. And there's an audience for everyone. Everyone's experience is an audience for it. So don't try to be like anyone else. Just be yourself. I
Yeah.
know I know it's easier said than done sometimes, but just be yourself. Ask yourself the questions that Jesus said, like, what legacy do you want to leave behind? Sometimes it can just be as simple as, what's even my favorite flavor of ice cream? I found that starting with simple questions is helpful because it forces you to really think about yourself instead of it thinking of yourself in context of other people. You just ask yourself questions, get comfortable with interrogating your thoughts, your
Why
assumptions.
why
Yeah,
do always when this thing happens? It used
yeah.
to like when we're talking about countries or my country or governance, I get very not angry, but there's passion. Like I don't even want anybody to say anything, but I'll see that I'm always advocating for the leadership. No, you don't. I'm not there, but I'm just highly vested in it. And like, you would have known that there's something
That
there.
there was something. Yeah,
There's a reason why you are like this. There's a reason
yeah.
why when this thing happens. And yeah, you're right.
Sorry, I got interrupted by my little human. But actually, yeah, that's true. That's a very good indicator for you to know this is something you're passionate about. If it really gets you riled up, instead of just like getting into arguments back and forth, like really start
Mm,
to ask yourself, why does this thing really get me, charged up? Me, it's always been injustice, especially when it comes to women. And
mm,
I didn't think much of it. I made notes about it, but over time, you start to really, especially if you're taking little steps
true.
towards those things that you're passionate about, you start to then get clarity, your vision gets clearer. And as you try different things out, your assumptions get validated. You
Mm,
do your research. I was listening to a podcast yesterday and they said, don't be afraid to have your theories like tested. Like don't be afraid to like go out there and try. Like what's the
mm,
worst that could happen? You learn that okay, I need to go
mm-hmm.
back to the drawing board, or I need to tweak this, or I need to tweak that. There's sometimes where I've wanted to start something and I'm like, what if I look foolish, or what if I make a mistake? And when I sit down and I think about it, I'm like, so what? If I make the mistake, I learn from it and I move on.
Mm,
There's nothing that I'm doing now that I went to school for. Like I studied accounting, I'm a chartered accountant. I didn't go to school for anything that I'm doing now, but it's the passion that gets you going. And then you start to do your own studies, you start to do your own education, because that's really, for me, when it comes down to it, what school does is that it teaches you how to learn by yourself, how to
it
learn
teaches you to go
things.
to
Yeah.
school in the area that you
Yes.
want to go
So it's not
to.
really about, oh, I didn't go to school for that. No, as long as you've gone to some sort of school, now you have
Yeah,
the tools to take it one step further. And there's so
true.
much information out there. I was even saying earlier that ChatGPT is a good tool, but it's not
Mm,
a good master. Don't switch off
mm,
your brain. Your brain and your uniqueness, your authenticity are your strengths. Don't
yeah,
give it away by just copying and pasting everything that you get from ChatGPT. You can use it as a starting board, maybe to brainstorm, or you can use it to refine your thoughts.
true.
But don't just take it hook, line, and sinker, because the more you do that, the less you grow, the less you have an
Okay.
edge. And then you get to a point where an employer can easily hire a robot to do your job because you've completely turned into a dummy. So please be intentional about how you interact with things. Just stay sharp, stay authentic, stay yourself.
Still learning.
Yeah, stay learning, because if that's one thing Dusa has shared with us today is like read, 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 read. Don't say I don't like to read. Nothing like that. If you're really curious about something, I'm sure many people when they want to watch a movie or a K-drama or something, they'll go
Mm,
online and look for it and read about this and read about that. So it's really about just switching your attention to things that are more value driven. And you don't even have to fake it, because if you really are passionate about something, you just spend a little time on it doing research. There's so much information out there. But Duza, thank you so much. Any final words for us as we round up before we start going on a soapbox?
well, thank you for having me today. I just want to pick from the word that led me to everything I am today is the word of intentionality. It's like what we've been speaking about. Just be intentional about your life.
Mm,
Take it your life. Don't just sit back and let things happen. Be involved in it. Let
mm,
them happen to you like we have said, you are not a tree, you can move. Do something. Do something and make use of your time.
mm,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you guys so much for giving us your time. We don't take it for granted. We know there's so many things that you could be doing on a Friday evening, but we're so glad that you took the time to listen and learn. And we look forward to hearing your feedback and catching you next month. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.